Hello everybody and welcome to another unboxing. It's actually going to be an unboxing and an unbagging. We have a Temu delivery and the number 96 Scrawlrbox, which is the August Scrawlrbox 2023. Firstly, excuse the state of my nails. I've just come back from a festival, so I haven't bothered. I ripped this open at 4 a.m. this morning when I got in the door from up country, and so it's actually kind of already open. I couldn't wait when I walked in. Everyone had already received theirs over the weekend, and I was super excited to open, and so I couldn't wait until this morning. It was a 4 a.m. Scrawlrbox discovery, and I was very, very excited and very pleasantly surprised. I'm drinking tea while I unbox today, so excuse me. So we will dive right in. We have already ripped it open, so here we go. I'm not going to feign the excitement I had at 4 a.m. because, in all honesty, however much I love my Scrawlrbox, opening it at 4 o'clock, I just wanted to know what was in there so that I could see all the spoilers without feeling annoyed that I had it spoilt for me. So our lovely patterned box is definitely here to stay. I know some people thought it might just have been a special box, but it is 100% the new box. Although this will eventually say plant one tree, not pant, and there may be pant drawings in the future. I promised that last time and I still haven't gotten around to it. So we have supplies, which again are open. This little sticker as well is a little bit bigger than it used to be. So that's really exciting. I need to try and save a new one. I've got a tiny one somewhere. A Scrawlzine, which is a very exciting one. I'm not sure if my colours are a bit out of whack with the light. That's a bit better. So some nice like muted colours. An art print. So this is Willie Watt. Here are his socials, the architect's sketchbook. And Willie is an architect and a director at the award-winning Nicole Russell Studios. So this is his fantastic work. Don't know if you can see, this is a nice blue highlights sort of for shadow. I think he uses blue and then a bit of brown and green muted in here. So these are the colours that we should have in the box. The artist tends to make the print out of what they've received in the box. Occasionally they add a few extras or do something a little bit further afield. Iskra in the gold box, it was actually a work that she'd already done, and it was gold leaf and we had a gold pen, but it's always achievable and inspiring. Essentially the print is there to inspire. And then this kind of gives away what we have in the box. Marker paper. So we have 10 sheets of 75 GSM Scrawlrbox marker paper, which feels very nice. I'm always happy when there's actual marker paper with markers. I know some people can use Bristol board. That never works for me and I don't enjoy using it. I think that put me off the Copic or Copic markers that we received several months back because it was on Bristol board, and when I used marker paper I was a little bit happier with them, but they're never my favourites. Everyone raves about them, but I actually prefer other brands of alcohol marker. So with keeping this print in mind and our lovely Willie, we will dig into the supplies and what we're going to try and create, and then we'll look at the zine and check out the prompt. I'm guessing, I haven't actually looked, I've seen a lot of talk of like architecture and buildings and drawing and stuff like that, and obviously this is quite urban sketchy, and with Willie being an architect, I imagine that's kind of the vibe we're going with. But we have a creamy toffee, which I will eat myself this month. Alfie had the last one, so that's now mine. The sticker, as always, which is a little snapshot of the print. I put all of mine on my big storage chest, which is now covered, and I'm going to run out of room soon. And adding 1880 Draw Liner 01, which is pigment ink, so it should be proof to the markers, and Scrawler being as good as they are, everything works together. So I wouldn't imagine they would have put in a pen, let's not put that there or I'll forget to put it in the recycling, that wasn't alcohol marker proof. So the main event is Faber-Castell 6 Gold Faber Sketch dual markers. They are alcohol markers, 100% recycled plastic, so as always with Scrawlrbox, we are supporting the environment, planting those trees, and trying to save the planet one bit less plastic. That was really bad English. One less piece of plastic at a time. These are, my understanding is, European, this is their European exclusive release. They are a brand new product on the market. Obviously alcohol markers aren't a brand new product, but for Faber-Castell, these guys are newbies, and they're very nice looking pens. They look a little bit like the Tombow ABT Pros, the Tombow alcohol markers, in their design. So brush tip, not very good with the angles, am I? Brush tip and fine liner. The fine liner tip, it's kind of hard to see. Let me see if it's easier on a, it's not like, I don't know if you can see it very well. Trying to do the whole YouTuber thing, hoping my camera gets the thing. It's not like a flat tip like a fine liner, it's still like a tiny brush. It's like a mini brush tip. It doesn't give an idea of size, but I would say it's probably a 10 on a fine liner scale. But yeah, so we've got all these lovely markers, 6 of these. I'll go through the colours in a minute. Some instructions on how to use them. Just a little bit about Faber-Castell, the colours you can get in these markers by the looks of it. So there's a really, really, really nice range. We're sitting in this kind of area with the ones we've got this month, but they do look really nice, and my bank balance is screaming a little bit in the background, I think. A little bit of instruction on how to use them, so a bit of learning, a little bit of inspiration. Always handy, so that's a nice little booklet to have. And then I did actually, at 4 AM, swatch ever so slightly on here. You can't really see that one. But we did just do a quick test, but this is obviously the sketch marker whole collection. I'm assuming it's columned like this due to colours, because these are very brown earth, green grey kind of colours, and this one here is a blue, a very, very pale blue. So I would imagine the numbers make sense to that. I did wonder whether it was per box and that the blue one would have been here, and that's like the box set. I don't know, they're called the architecture set, this one. So that would have made sense, but then the blue ended up being over there. So we'll make the assumption it's to do with tones and shades. And then obviously we have the zine. So a little bit about the supplies. The supply info, if you scan the QR code, the recommended retail of these pens, I think, is about £23, £24. When I looked earlier, I can't remember exactly. Our sweet treat is vegetarian, gluten-free and gelatin-free, so that's quite nice. Not that it bothers me, I'll just eat it anyway, but there we go. Some people will find that a nice addition. And then our edding pen, and our sticker. A little bit about Willie Watt. He's wanted to be an architect from primary school, and he can remember telling his mum and dad as he drove through a planned village, like lots of architects, I just wanted to make the world a better place. So already he seems really, really lovely. Here's some of his work that you can find on his socials that I put on earlier, but just some really nice loose line marked urban sketches. Some scrawler tips, how to use the pens, so where to fill things in, swatching, blending, but also perspective. It's a really interesting one, and interestingly and excitingly enough, not that long ago I did a Domestica course, which was architectural drawings using markers, with someone called House Sketcher on Instagram. It's at House Sketcher, I think. And he was fantastic. The course on Domestica was brilliant. There are a couple of pieces that I created on my Instagram following that course, and I'm going to dip back into it to use as inspiration for my work for the Scrawler Challenge, I think. Although this line work is beautiful and his work is really great, it's quite blocky and liney and solid, and although it is loose in that it's not drawn with rulers and everything's spot on, there's just something extra about the House Sketcher way of working that I really like. He also uses a white fine liner or white jelly roller to highlight areas. So what I may do is do my sketch without it and then add some highlights and do like a picture with it, because I don't like using stuff that's not in the box unless it's like a pencil, rubber, things like that, like the essentials. But I try and use just what we've got as much as I possibly can. So my actual sort of submitted piece, as it were, or pieces, however many I do, won't have the highlights, but I might then put the picture up of it with some highlights added in, so you can see how it works. Behind the artwork, so it's the RNLI station in Port Isaac. I did think it looked familiar. I grew up in Cornwall and I've been to Port Isaac a couple of times, and it did look very Cornish village. The home of Doc Martin, it is indeed. I was on holiday with my family and we visited many of Cornwall's brilliant harbour villages. I loved the shapes, textures, and because it was a brilliant summer's day, the sharp shadows. Talks about position and timing. Let the lines flow. If you want to neatly colour a block copy or trace the area onto another sheet of bleed-proof paper and then cut it out and use it as a mask. So that's a good idea. And more advice is to let the lines flow. Always tend to draw fairly quickly. So I encourage people just to draw, to let go and create. That's a really good idea. Then my favourite part is the Scrawler Gallery. Now, this was from the Midas Touch prompt, and the pieces that were created were just amazing. I recognise most of these because I ended up seeing them pop up, and then I went and followed them all. And then our very own down here, if I can get her in shot, our very own Mel's piece, this kind of forest nymph with a honey pot. I love that piece. So these are just brilliant how they chose. They actually did say all of you produced such impressive pieces, it was hard to pick favourites, so here are just a few. It really was a box that inspired so many people. Tanya's piece here with the hands is just stunning. But these guys, if any of them are there for long enough that you can read their socials, that's going to go upside down, so that's actually not going to be helpful, is it? But kind of can't get it in the right place under the camera. There we go. Please feel free to follow their socials because everyone is so fantastic. Then the top three is just absolutely beautiful. Helen did several pieces. As you can see here, there's just 3 of them. There were even more than that. And her work was outstanding. She's just fantastic. So congratulations, Helen. And then Sue Lockwood, who I hadn't really come across before, but now have. I love that style. It feels very like old school horror. She's brilliant. And then Monica did this gorgeous little dragon. And these leaves. Looks amazing. So congratulations to the top 3. Feel free to go and check them out. There's a little bit about the graffiti castle. Scotland has always been a country steeped in magic and mystery. Land that calls out to those who want to spend their days exploring, connecting with nature. Throughout the centuries, Scotland has kept that magical feel despite industry evolution. It's also home to some of the most interesting buildings in Europe. Kelburn Castle is known for its fairy tale-like architecture, and more recently for the infamous project that welcomed modern art to breathe life back into the old building. It's got all these crazy pieces of work over the castle. There we go. So our prompt is point of view. So obviously architecture feeds into that quite heavily, but I can think outside the box as well. There are other ideas. Landscapes which don't necessarily have any architecture involved in them would work with point of view. Some close-up images of things, like microscopic images. That would be the point of view of a scientist or someone. Space, you could do some kind of space work. Obviously the colours lend to things specifically better than others, but there's lots of things I can think of. Fantastic. And I definitely think they've got a new printer or some new paper, because this Scrawlrbox is like the last one. It's quite thick, and yes, good work, Scrawler. Good work, Scrawlrbox. So, because we have our Temu unboxing as well, we will do a bit of swatching. We'll start with the fine liner. It's a 0.1, so it's very, very skinny. Just do some rough patterns of things to build textures we can use in the drawings. Lots of lines, obviously. One thing I started recently, I bought a Wreck Your Own journal, and one of the prompts was to draw as many little tiny circles as you could on the page. And I spent about 10 hours drawing tiny circles. And it's become a little bit of an obsession to just draw tiny circles now. So there you go, some tiny circles. Very nice pen to use, very smooth, and even though it's a 0.1, it doesn't feel, the nib can sometimes feel so small that you worry you're gonna damage it, snap it. But actually it feels really nice, especially I guess the paper is lending to that as well. And then we'll keep moving these around because they get in the way. We will swatch some of these. So warm grey. These are really nice alcohol markers. When I swatched them at 4 AM, all I could think was how smooth they lay down on the paper, and that was just the swatching paper. So actually on this they're even nicer. And that brush end is really nice as well. I imagine you can get some quite skinny little streaky lines as well, with a bit of precision and time, which don't have that. You can't really see it that colour, can you? That was warm grey, so we'll get progressively darker. That is green clay, so you can see it is going down super smooth. You can kind of see there. I do like this skinny end, because although it's not a fine liner, it plays a bit like one. Then we have light pigeon blue. So from what I can tell, Willie uses blue as a shadow colour in his work, so that it's not so dark and dull as a grey or brown or anything like that, or even, you know, getting into black and things. He uses blue for shadows, which always works really well on skin tones. Trying not to damage my nib. Put it in at an angle, squish it. Just wondering if that kind of helps you see, but it's now a bit dark. So obviously we've got a blue in here, which should work really nicely. Really nice smooth pens to use. Warm grey 3. So a bit like oh, I can't think now. My other alcohol markers, whoever they're by, they're in the kitchen. They have different levels of certain colours. So that's a warm grey 3. That one was warm grey. Do we have warm grey 2? We've got warm grey 5. Let's bring that down again. So we've got warm grey 3 and warm grey 5. So they should blend quite nicely. We'll give that a go in a second. That second layer going over the top of that has created a really solid layer, really smooth. That's the one I just used, isn't it? That was really good. Warm grey 3. Let's work ourselves out a little bit better. There we go. That's warm grey 5. Let's try and blend them a bit. Where have you gone? Let's get the right one. They seem to blend really nicely. Where's warm grey? So when blending, a lighter colour should slightly pick up some of the alcohol pigment off of a darker layer, and if you do it quick enough while it's still wet, you can kind of pull a little bit of the darker layer into the lighter layer as well and blend the edge. That's a really nice gradient. That will be smoother as it dries, but the gradient's really nice. So actually putting some time to that, that will come out quite well, I think. So let's just put down warm grey 5 because I picked up the wrong pen. So let's just add some swatchy bits. My screen keeps going off and I don't know why it does that. Because I'm recording, so it shouldn't. That's really nice. And then, so I did think, obviously there are sections of Willie's picture with these much darker areas. So when I first saw it, I expected a slightly thicker fine liner than a 0.1. But then when I swatched last night, this sepia, dark sepia, is dark. So it almost borders on black, in which case it will act really nicely as the kind of thicker fine liner, if that's the kind of work that we're going for, which is quite nice actually. I love having a lot of fine liners, don't get me wrong, and this one I'll add to the collection. But the other day I ordered a small 3 set of sepia and of grey, because I love black to outline and things like that, but sometimes it can just be a bit too severe depending on what you're drawing. So it was nice to get some grey, and then sepia works really nicely. So yeah, we're just gonna check how proof this is. I mean, it didn't move a muscle. Wait for that autofocus if it's going to happen. But it's literally no smudge whatsoever. So that is a awesome pen. Actually kind of made the black more vibrant to some extent. So all in all, I really like these. Everyone was super excited when the Copic markers came in, but these are very swiftly becoming a favourite. The Tombow ones were really nice. The marker paper lent to that, and actually I still have that marker paper sketchbook, so I can always use that to extend the marker paper for use. I will just say as well that nothing, this is a couple of layers, no bleed through, really nice marker paper. So the Tombow ones are lovely, but they are quite pricey, and I find them quite hard to get hold of as well. These ones hopefully will be as easy to get hold of as other Faber-Castell pens. I really like the fact that there's this kind of fine liner nib. It makes a difference from like a chisel end, but also the fine liner is like a mini brush, so it lays down really nicely. Slightly thicker than a fine liner itself, smoother, really nice. They seem like a fair price point, looking at the sort of up to mid-20s for 6. That's kind of quite common for alcohol markers. And then I'm sure there'll be sales and offers and things like that. You'll probably get them cheaper in different places, different stores. I imagine places like Hobbycraft will get hold of them, and they quite often send out vouchers if you're a member of their Hobbycraft club and things like that. So all in all, I mean, really gorgeous colour selection for architecture. Really nice pens to use, really smooth, great blends, really solid colour. I mean, that dark sepia is dried and it is not a streak to be seen, so it's gone down really nicely. So I'm excited to use them. I have a few ideas. As I say, the House Sketcher Domestica course was really helpful to me, and I think I will refer back to that and find some reference photos and have a play around. The nice thing about these kind of urban sketch styles is they are quite loose. My hands don't like drawing straight lines, so these kind of styles allow for that, and they don't want all the detail in the world. I mean, there's 4 people in this picture and there's like 3 lines, maybe 2 lines in a couple of them. It's not about the detail, it's about sort of creating almost an outline of what you can see in front of you, and then just adding a bit of colour and texture, a bit of shadow and dimension. So playing around with perspective is another one as well. Anyone that's a bit unsure about perspective, YouTube will have some fantastic videos on it. It's about sort of the vanishing point and how you draw lines, having a ruler to hand, and a loose light pencil just to kind of draw those lines in and then work around them and then rub them out is a really great idea. playing with perspective is always fun, but also at the same time, not having the perfect perspective can be really fun as well. So having a more sort of abstract feel about the work. So all in, yeah, a great box, a really great box. Not only has it introduced an exclusive product, which I'm really excited to see some more of these. I'd really like to see the quality of the vibrant colours that it showed in the booklet. So it'd be really cool if we either got some more in a Scrawlrbox at some point. Obviously that would be a while down the road because not everyone will want markers all the time, and if we put these in again within the next 12 months there will be a riot, I'm sure. But I'll keep an eye out for them anyway, out and about, because I would like to add some other colours to that collection. I think it's a really, really nice set. They look really nice as well. And also a bit of a challenge and the encouragement to work with some perspective and get away from sort of the whimsical feel we've had recently with some of the prompts. Maybe even go out and about and do some outside work. That would be quite fun. Taking the pens and the sketchbook. So yeah, really, really good box. Really happy with that, and I will eat my toffee shortly. And then we will open our Temu supplies. There is currently also, I will mention, on the Scrawlrbox page a t-shirt competition. So they're looking to design some new merch and have asked the community to get involved, and you don't have to be a Scrawlrbox member to have a go, but there are certain stipulations within I can't think what it's called, there's a word for it. It has to include the Scrawlrbox logo, it's up to 5 colours, sort of an art theme. I can't remember what else it is. It's all on the website. If you head over to the Scrawlrbox website and search for the t-shirt competition, the little 3 lines in the top left corner will give you a drop down, and it's like design tee comp or something. And you can enter as many as you want and people vote on them. It's not necessarily the most voted for that's going to win. It might be more than one design that wins as well, but there's fantastic prizes. Not only will you get like the t-shirt and it'll be printed, there's cash prize and everything, so it's definitely worth having a look and throwing an entry into the hat if you like that kind of thing. So let's pop Scrawler over here. As always, thank you Scrawler team for that. There will be a Scrawler live, I think it's this Thursday night? No, it'll be next Thursday night, I think. I'd have to find my Scrawler book. But this Scrawlrbox came in really, really early. It was sort of nearly a week earlier than expected. So we're back to running back to schedule. When I started, the notification of dispatch was like the 22nd-ish, between 20th and 22nd. The last couple of boxes, they've got it back to sort of the 17th, 15th to 17th. And then this one, the dispatch, I think we got on the 10th. And I think the box landed on Saturday, but I wasn't here. But I think quite a lot of people got it on the 12th. There were still a couple of people waiting, but then that's their mean posties that have not delivered them yet. And then next, we have a fun little collection of things. We don't need the charging cable. The charging cable can go over here. From Temu. One thing that I noticed was that the packaging is not orange. I was like, no, I like the orange packaging. But there we go. So, the only irritating thing with Temu is all the plastic. Lots and lots of plastic. But never mind. I will try and recycle everything as much as I can and reuse it. So I ordered 2 acrylic metallic paints, which I will try out on a piece of paper or cardboard in a second. They look nice and shiny. They look very pretty. I thought they would be fun to play with. They were super cheap. They were less than £1 each, I think. I also got some badges, not art related clearly, but I don't know. Let's see if I can get that one in the shop, because it says fun things. There you go. Don't be a dick. Don't be a dick badge. And stay spooky. I've got a couple of cool badges to go on my jacket. I kind of have a nice collection now. Then I have these, which I'm very excited about. I've seen lots of people getting these, and they are really gorgeous, sort of Japanese calligraphy style paintbrushes. Now I needed some bigger ones for like water washes, so I got some bigger, like round ones. They have like little hangy bits on the ends, so really nice wooden paintbrushes, and they feel quite thick, so they'll hold a reasonable amount of water to lay down, and then obviously being rounded sort of tip brushes, you can sort of work them to a point to get a bit more detail and a bit more flow. But I just really liked the look of them. They look comfy, they're quite, you know, big and pretty, and yeah, they were a bargain. I can't remember how much they were, but they weren't very much either. So I have those. I don't actually remember what this is, and I didn't open this earlier to check. Oh, putty erasers. I ordered 2 putty erasers because the putty eraser we got with, which one did we get it with? Oh, we didn't get anything. I used one of my putty erasers with the Wolf's drawing sketch tin from the Midas Touch a couple of boxes ago. 94 I think it was, because the little eraser was fine for the graphite, but I wanted to remove some of the carbon, so I used one of my putty erasers and it's just absolutely wrecked. So I bought a couple of putty erasers, which are really handy because you can, anyone that's not used one before, you can mould them a bit like blue tack, and essentially you can use blue tack as a putty eraser, but you can like pull bits off the corner, you can twist it to make it more detailed, so you can sort of really use it to how you need it. So I bought some of those. I've got them. That's really handy. I have this fancy gadget. This is just a little air blower for ink. So when using ink, rather than using a straw, which if you use a metal straw, it's bound to end up with a saliva dribble going on your inkwork, which you really don't want. If you use a paper straw, it can just get soggy and horrible. So I thought this would be really handy to gently or more violently blow around ink to play with the effects that you can get. So I really enjoy piddling about with that. I think there's some actually right next to me that I did on the Frisk black paper. Where have I put it? There it is. So Frisk very kindly were giving away some black Yupo paper to anyone who paid an interest and asked for it, basically, to test it out and see what they thought of it. So I took them up on that offer and I messed about with some different inks. So there's some alcohol ink and acrylic ink on there. The paper's gorgeous. It's kind of matte effect as well, so that's really nice. It took a lot longer for the acrylic ink to dry, but the alcohol ink dried really well, like it does on Yupo, and I actually have some like reactivator drops as well. But it just came out really beautifully with the sparklies as well. And then this one I used like drawing ink that I had from, I think it was Colt Pens, and this is actually a pinky purple ink, but it's got this a bit of gold in it. I did also put some other gold ink in. This sort of brighter gold is the dried effect from the pink ink. So if you sort of drew a word, as it dries, parts of that word, like the outlines and little bits in the middle, would turn turn gold where they looked pink where you originally put it down. And then I think that is a Winsor & Newton just gold ink that I pushed around as well, and the white is acrylic ink. So these were fantastic. The Frisk paper was fab. I can't really tell if you can see it's matte because it's not shining on anything. It's a really nice matte paper, really soft, reasonably thick as well. It's not, you know, stupid thin. And I just thought I had some artful like cards that they give you with envelopes, that what I might do at some point is just stick the pictures onto the front of the cards, and create like a fun card, because it's exactly the right size, which is really cool. It's like smaller than A6, the Yupo, I think, or the cards are slightly bigger than A6, one or the other. Doesn't say, just says it's 280 GSM board, but yeah. So just mixing and matching all my loves, a bit of Temu, a bit of Scrawlrbox, a bit of Artful, to create some very random artwork. Then I got this cute little thing, which was like 50p, if not less. It might have been 30s. So when sketching, obviously you can end up with your hand smudging all your beautiful artwork, and it's just one of those sketching gloves. My fingers seem to be remarkably small because it fits quite loose, but in other words, I know this is a paintbrush, not a pencil, but when you're doing the work, if you do have to lean on any part of the picture, it is a kind of fabric that's meant to prevent it from smudging, or at least reduce the amount of smudging. So that seemed like a really clever idea, especially as I sit on my sofa and art prawn quite often. So trying to, you know, use some tracing paper or something to lean on top of the artwork to stop it moving around can be a pain in the butt keeping it all together. So that was quite cool. This is the most adorable thing in the entire world, and I know if Mel watches this, she may squeal with delight, but it is the most tiniest, miniaturist watercolour palette. It's literally this size. It's so small. But it's magnetic, so it joins together. Then this bit here allows you to clip it to a sketchbook. Just trying to see if I have any clips near me. Magically, I do, and I didn't plan that. Let me find a sketchbook. There should be one of those near me somewhere too. Let's delve into one of my pencil cases. I have all sorts of stuff. Here we go. Let's pull out the sketchbook. Don't know what that is. That's some card. So you have a sketchbook, you have your little palette, and you get your clip. It's probably a bit deep into my sketchbook there for the size clip I've got. Slightly. Let's go back a bit. I have bigger clips elsewhere, but this was the magical one that happened to be next to me. There we go. And you clip your palette to your sketchbook. And then you use your tiny paintbrush, which is evidently not this one, to pull it up, mixing palette, apply to paper. Absolute magic. And then obviously that's going to be nice and messy, but you can magnetise it shut, pop it in your pocket and go home. It's just genius. I'm a little bit in love with it. I did think there might be little plastic squares to go in here, as some of them show that, but I think because it's so damn tiny it hasn't got any. However, it's not an issue. It was about £3, if that, and I'll squeeze my tubes of paint, because I had a Scrawlrbox many moons ago, had, I was just trying to look for them, but they're not there, watercolour tubes, and I've not really done anything with them, and so I thought it'd be ideal to have this tiny little palette that I could squeeze them into, and then and use them out and about, or prawning on the sofa or wherever, and it's just so cute. So I'm very happy with that too. And I'm sure Mel will be on Temu within about 30 seconds. And then I think this is just some little bits I got Alfie. His birthday is next week, and he has a little bit of a love for crystals and gems, and I had this really lovely little set. I think there's tourmaline, there's definitely tourmaline, rose quartz, that might be amethyst, I can't see with the light. I'm not sure what that one is, but I basically just got him some little crystals to go with his collection. I may nab one for my little table altar. But yeah, that would be everything. So alongside all the plastic that we have to find a recyclable home for, and my lightning cable, I will have a play. I tell you what, we'll just do a very quick, let's find that sketchbook again. Oh, it's got some card. Let's snap some card. And one of these paintbrushes. I don't have any water, so luckily these are acrylic. That doesn't really matter other than to rinse my brush. Come off, you little bits of plastic. You can stay there for a minute then. Let's see what these are like. They're very shiny. Acrylic's an interesting one. You tend to kind of have to build it up to give it a really nice effect. It is shiny. You can't really see, it just looks wet. But it is a really nice metallic like sheen to it. Let's try and brush off some of the blue. Throat tickle. And have a look at this like foresty green. This is another Mel Love foresty green. Try not to get too much of the blue in it. Oh, that's really pretty. That's a really, really nice shade. You can see the blue a little bit in the streaks there. I'll bring that up to the camera. Can't really see the full beauty of it. I think that made it worse. Ooh, that's helped. There we go. Really pretty. You can see the shimmer in the blue there as well now. They're lovely. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to use them for yet, but I needed them clearly. Yeah, so that's it. We've done 49 minutes, nearly 50 minutes of unboxing, which is ridiculous. So if you've stuck around, thanks so much. If you skipped through to the important bits, thanks so much. If you just clicked on it and watched 2 minutes and aren't even hearing this message, thanks so much. I super duper appreciate anyone joining and watching and viewing, and please do say hi in the comments, and especially if you have your own page that I can check out that involves art and unboxing and Scrawlrbox and everything like that. And if there's anything you'd like to see, don't ask for me to draw on camera yet. I will get there, I promise. Then let me know. I'm not going to buy 1,000,001 things to unbox, but if there's something coming out, or if if you want to see more Castle Arts bits and pieces, being an ambassador for them, I'm more than happy to have a look at some more of their products. I have the gold range, the normal soft pencils, the pastel range, so like all their coloured pencils basically. Trying to think if I've got anything else. I'm sure I've got something, I can't remember. Oh, they're watercolour pencils, their basic range watercolour pencils. I'd be happy to demonstrate those in any which way, and I'll put a link in the comments to Castle Arts where you can order and get 30% off with my code. So if anyone does want to purchase anything, the quality is fantastic. The reason I applied to be an ambassador is because I really like their products and they're so affordable to everyone. So I'm more than happy to promote them and show that I use them, and I'm not just one of those annoying people that promote stuff they don't like. And if you want to know anything more about Scrawlrbox, let me know. I'll be happy to discuss. I've been a Scrawlrboxer for 2.5 years now, and I can show you all sorts of products and things that we've had over the last 2.5 years. Plus, I think I got about a year's worth of back boxes as well, so probably got about 3.5 years worth of Scrawlrbox supplies. And that's about it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much. If you've slogged it out, thank you even more so. Let me know if you've watched the whole 51 minutes and I'll add you to the list of people that I need to send artwork to, or gold stars or something. Praise. And hopefully I will have some pieces up on my Instagram soon. I will add the link to that as well, so you can see the work that's created with the supplies you've seen opened. Thank you everyone. Have a great rest of your week. Take care. Bye.